Welcome to the Roundtable, episode 51. We are back. I apologize for the slight delay. Had a little technical difficulties and got it figured out. So we're here and glad to be here. Welcome back to everyone who is, a regular. We appreciate you and welcome to it. If you guys are new, I appreciate you guys being here and we are so happy to see you. We got Spanx in the house. Good to see you. Big Mex, my bro from the 805, Jojo AZ. Thank you, sis. Denise, co-host, letting you guys know we're having an issue. I was having an issue. Southtown SD. If you guys didn't see our interview, check it out. Southtown and I did an interview, and it should be up there as my last upload. Company 91, welcome, Jojo LB. 408 Sanho, checking in, respects from Sanho. I was at the flea market Sunday. You didn't see me? I was there. Did you? I'm gonna be at that. They were handing out flyers where I bought my hat too. There's a Cinco de Mayo thing going on out there in Sanho. Are you gonna be there? Let me know. Okay, let me get on here and let's get to it because I know your girl was running behind. I'm gonna bring in the co-hosts and. Looks like House of Tattoos, Tattoo Rabbit is not here tonight. He will be back next week. He's a little under the weather. Thank you, Ruben. So send him some prayers and we will see him next week. Hello, amiga. Let me bring in our guest co-host, Fred from Two Face Entertainment. Hey.
Hey, Jen.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me back on. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Definitely. Still be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. A lot of people enjoy seeing you here. Denise dropped
Thank
down,
you.
so maybe she's going to tap back in right now. Let's see. Okay. As soon as she's ready to tap back in, she can tap in. But anyways, let's just go ahead and jump into it since I was having... Anyways, the issue with my camera was that my little one was in my office earlier and unplugged it. So I was going through all this stuff, trying to figure out what was happening. And Ruby had actually, here she is.
Hi. I was just going to text you right now. I lost it.
Oh, okay. Here we are. So, Ruby did me dirty and unplugged my camera. But here we are, guys. It's good to see everyone. Everyone had a busy week, it seems like. But let's get into some good stuff and hear about everybody's week. Denise, let's hear. What did you do?
My week.
Good stuff going on.
Let's see. So Saturday. Sunday we went to swap meet. We met up with Jilu and the crew there. Keisha, Monica, Big D.
All of them.
Yeah, we met up with them at the swap meet and just hung out. And then went to dinner. We had a little dinner at Uptown Whittier.
Nice.
And then what else? Oh, we went to Whittier Boulevard to go see if they were cruising down the boulevard, but they weren't. They had shut it down already.
So that's true then.
Yeah, they're trying to do their best. There was a few cars, but not like it usually is packed.
Okay.
It's not cool.
Right. So yeah, that's what we did this weekend. Just kind of hung out.
Okay. Yeah, you guys had some nice pictures. Got to see everyone. It's like a nice thing to be able to see you guys, even in pictures, until you get to meet up.
Every time Juliu's down here, he was down here for that concert in Adelanto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was down here for that. So he went to that on Saturday, and then we just hung out on Sunday and just kicked it.
Yeah, a lot of people went to that. I heard it was a big success.
It wasn't as big as they expected, but...
Oh, really? Because they were advertising the heck out of it. Like, it was everywhere.
Yeah, they were advertising it, but they didn't... I don't know why it didn't come through. Like, I mean, it did for those that were there, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But a lot of, like Lefty Gunplay, he didn't come out.
I had heard a little something, regarding that. I guess people thought he was supposed to perform there.
I would have been mad if I would have paid money for nothing. I mean, come on, it's a concert. They're supposed to come through, and I don't know.
Yeah, and he was kind of blasted on the front of that advertisement pretty big. But to be fair, I did hear he performed at the after party, so I don't know what the details were about the agreement of.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the after part. I don't know. I know that Big D got some VIP card from Joe,
Okay.
Big Joe, and then but I don't think they went.
Okay.
So that was just something that.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that. So.
Right. We'll get into that too, Jojo. Well,
Mhm.
I'm glad you guys had a good time, and that's what's up. Hey, G,
Yeah.
how are you? And this is Fred, Two Face Entertainment. That's the local guy right here from the 831 with me.
Yeah.
So, Fred, let me hear about your weekend, stranger.
No, man, my weekend was as always running around doing stuff. Right now, I'm solo right now, going through these the house to myself kind of. It's kind of like a risky business kind of deal right now. So I feel like Tom Cruise right now. So it's a cool deal. It's a cool deal. No, but I'm staying busy. I got appointments and stuff like that. So it's been pretty adventurous, to be honest. It keeps me on my toes, and there's no time to really kind of really sit around in a sense. I've been busy. It's been good. It's been good though.
Yeah. Well, you and I got to see each other at the fight, so shout out to Cholo Trucker for the win.
Yes.
That was pretty. I mean, that was pretty electric, pretty cool.
Yeah.
See that up close and personal. So
I lost my voice too at the fight. I was like,
so did I. Later that day, I was like, man, my throat's hurting. I'm getting sick. And then I was like, no, I was screaming. I'm the crazy lady in the background screaming.
The quiet one.
Right?
Yeah. It was
so great.
You know what? And I will say something right now, just for those that perhaps haven't bought it yet or gone to see that. It's well worth it, man. It's like it was real good. Like it is just so everybody know that it's 5 rounds, but it's 5 rounds of like it's
fully active rounds.
Yes.
Most definitely.
I know
I'm gonna. How many rounds did he go?
5.
It's a non-professional, so it was actually just 5 rounds, but it's really good. I'll get and again, shout out to Mikey at Chicano Tube and his wife Christine. I mean, you guys
did it,
man. Did a good job, and shout out to Buzz as well, man. Like hey, he showed up and got in the ring. That's I don't know if I could do something like that.
Right? And I'll give it to him.
Like,
hey,
I'm just saying,
showed up and they rolled in thick. There was a lot of them.
And in both corners too. I got to meet a lot of the guys that came with Cholo that I hadn't met before, and it was great. It was great. It's my love and respect to everybody, and it was awesome. It was a great time. So they need to check it out, man. Like whoever hasn't seen it, you need to check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little video on it. So I'm holding back a little bit, but definitely check it out. And but that's cool. You bet on Cholo, Jojo? Well, you got your money then. You got your money then. That's what's up. So, well, Fred, I'm glad that you're sharing with us, a little bit of what's going on with you. We care about you and glad to have you here. A lot of people enjoy seeing you here. So, more to come. Yeah. Yes. I really appreciate the fact that you share, we all kind of share bits and pieces of our life as we can, but the fact that we can check in with each other and check on each other, I like that too. So yes. Thank you guys again for being here. Hit the thumbs up if you can. So I did also get out of the house on Sunday, believe it or not, and went to the flea market. I haven't been there in years, guys. Years. And I actually got out and took Ruby, and she had a blast. I thought she would be complaining because she hates car rides. But she, it's not too far for most people. It's like, 45 minutes, an hour from here?
About an hour. But, 45 minutes because you're,
Does she get car sick or she just doesn't like the...
You know what? Sometimes she does, sis. She really does get car sick.
Yeah.
But I had her bring her phone. She was just doing her little game. And we were just pointing stuff out and playing little games as we went along. Like, oh, do you see that? Do you see this?
I had to sit my daughter in front all the time because she would really get sick.
Yeah. You know what? She might be tall enough now that she can sit in the front. I need to check on the whole regulations.
Yeah.
You know how they always kept changing it? Like they have to be a certain height or weight or age.
Yeah.
She's pretty tall though. She's like barely underneath me. She's gonna by next year she will be taller than me for sure.
Oh wow.
Because we can share shoes already.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. And sometimes not nice when you're looking for your stuff and can't find it. But it was fun. It was fun. They had a lot of good food there. There was last time I had went was a couple of years ago, and they didn't have really a lot of stuff. I felt like I don't know, maybe it was like during the whole, time, the mid time.
Yeah.
But had a lot of stuff this time, a lot of toys, clothes, they have car stuff there, furniture. It was cool to get out and got me a hat. I got me a little hat.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah. What size is that? What size are you?
I don't know.
It should say on there.
Says Whittier by Summit hats.
Whittier by Summit.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't
check it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out. But I had just a flat bill hat on, but I was like, oh, why not? Give me a little white hat. So yeah, and it was fun. I can't complain. It was a good time. Yeah. But
I feel like the weekend went by fast though. So
it was a busy weekend, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely like a busy one. I felt like, right?
Yeah.
Jojo, I do have a big head. I think it probably is a big size. No joke. Yes, Bougie D. I almost got one of his hats. That's why I'm laughing because Jojo just said that. But my head was too big. It didn't fit me. So I had to get this brand next because that was the only one that fit. Well, there were other hats, but the only other white one. Yeah.
Yeah, so. The girl saying right now, Danny de La Paz, Boulevard Nights has his own line of hats as well.
He does. You know what? Cholo interviewed him. Cholo interviewed him.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He did.
And I believe he brought up about his hats and stuff. So definitely,
that's
cool.
That's another good one that a lot of people I think need to go watch on Cholo Trucker. He interviewed Danny de La Paz and the stories of how they filmed, Boulevard Nights right there in Whittier, and that it was actually during the week, and just kind of it's amazing. You guys gotta go check that out. He as well.
Definitely, that would be cool.
His story's his story's a trip. He's really raised around.
And you know what? Danny de La Paz has a lot of movies that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
A lot of people just remember him as Boulevard Nights and American Me, but he's done stuff with Keanu Reeves. He's done stuff with Telly Savalas. He's done stuff with what was it? I want to say Sean Connery, I believe, or something like that.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's been in some movies, man. He's been in some movies, but with Willie Nelson and Gary Busey. He's done stuff with them, and a lot of people have said on it. I mean, I don't know. He's got quite a bit of stuff, man. That's cool. He's not he's I believe he's an underrated actor because just hearing him speak of how he talks about how he gets into the character, like it really takes you in, like, man, it really takes you in deep. So, but you know what? I'll leave that to Cholo Trucker's interview with them. I'm
check it out. Definitely. Fred, do you have a couple items you can show the people so they can see some?
Sure. On the last one, those of you guys that were here the last time, I was sharing with you guys about the flats that they used to have back in the day to put in the record stores.
Yeah.
And the record store in Salinas, the Music Zone, shout out to them, they're no longer around.
I know.
They would have all these flats, and since I was a rap entrepreneur, I'd come in and they'd give me this the guys were supposed to not give them away, but they would give them to me though.
Yeah.
And I have one that, and these are just promotional to show people what the albums we're gonna look the album covers and stuff.
Okay.
And this one's a little messed up in the back, but I have the All Eyes on Me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
Promotional flat.
Look at how new it looks. Nice.
That's what I was gonna say too. That's
Yeah.
crisp.
Well, the back is a little torn up, but see, this is what it has in the background. In the back
Okay.
of it, you
That's
know.
like
So
legit.
there was like one side and then the other side, you know, and all over the walls and stuff.
Mhm.
I have you know what? This one's a little messed up, but I actually have them in frames, but I took them out because I took them out because of the glare. But I have one that I'm very proud of.
That's cool.
Roger Troutman.
Oh man, that's a good.
And that's actually, I don't know if you guys. Let me see if I could get
That's
it.
definitely on my playlist.
It's signed to me from him. I got to meet him.
Do they still have the music, songs on the back of it, or?
No, this is just a promotional flat. It's just
okay.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just a promotional that said who was gonna be on it. So these usually hung out before the albums came out.
Nice.
So the other one I'll get into real quick, and I won't take too long. Some of the people don't know about this, but
what do you know about that?
right? There's a Compton rapper named King T from Compton. So when people say Compton, you know there is a lot of other rappers that came out at the time. Of course, NWA, Toddy T, and stuff like that. But there was a rapper named King T that came out of Compton. And he's responsible for another group called the Alcoholics, which is Exhibit that later came out. If some of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Exhibit's actually the guy that was on the Pin My Ride show.
Yeah.
So he's responsible to bring him out into what they called the Liquid Crew, which is the Alcoholics, the Liquid Crew, King T, and whatnot. So he had a lot of hits at the time called At the Pool and the Trifling Album, and you know he's just a Compton legend. So I believe in the late 90s, early 2000s, King T. I got a hold of a tape. It was actual tape, and there was a promotional that they had given away, giving out to people that had like little snippets, little pieces of the song, like 30 seconds of each song.
Oh, okay.
And King T had actually signed to Dr. Dre. Really? So I was like, oh, you know, this is going to be classy, you know, and I heard the songs and stuff and the little pieces. And I waited and waited and waited, and the album never came out.
Oh, what?
Eventually it came out, right?
Oh, okay.
So this is, I'll take it out of the box here. So what they did, though, what I thought was not cool, it came out like this. King T. I don't know why they put a turkey on there. That was a thing.
What the heck?
So
That is weird.
That was not, well, something like that.
Yeah.
So what happened was, you know. So anyhow, so he had a bunch of people like Shaquille O'Neal and, you know, MC Ren of NWA and all this stuff. So this label, I believe, is an independent label out of England, I believe. And King T's gone on to say that he regretted kind of not sticking around with Dr. Dre to let him put it out at the time.
Really?
So again, there was promotionals, and I'll cut to the chase on that. And I happen to be, I believe, the only one to have this because I actually showed King T, and he was like, "Wow, where'd you get that?" You know, and nobody has it. This is the actual cover from the Dr. Dre. You know, the actual cover that was supposed to be on the Dr. Dre.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So
you have it.
This is actually, you know. So you see it ahead and the back, and then it has hold on, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and there's all that stuff in there. So yeah. I mean, I'm proud of this. Some people will be like, "Yo, where'd you get that at? You know, let me have it." I said, "No, I'm good." So eventually, when I can get to LA at some point, and I got to work with King T. I'll say that. Got to work with him, and a real humble man. Real shout out to him. And so when I get time to go out there, I'll have him sign it for me. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, guys. Sorry.
No, we love it.
It's interesting. I'm not into rap, but I know those older cats. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
a lot of people in the comments are
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, yeah, right on. Thank you.
That's
Man.
nice.
So yeah, I'm proud of that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
so I have it. So eventually, when I do fix up a studio spot for my own little channel here, I'll probably have that stuff in the background too. So just to share it, you know?
Definitely. That's very cool that you have that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
Irma. Very cool. Well, you know what? We have covered a multitude of subjects, topics when we are doing like our little news catch up segments. And one thing that we've talked about, you know, a few times is different incidents involving road rage and how that can go from something very simple, you know, to something very tragic.
Yeah.
But some case came up in a video that was sent to me, and it shocked me because when you think of road rage, what do you normally think of when it's the other person initiating it? Who do you think that person normally is?
Angry. I'd say angry.
Somebody that's trying to, you know, somebody just a regular John Doe, if you will, or Jane Doe, if you will, and they're just not having a good day for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I would think too. So that's part of why this video that got sent to me, not that this person can't be an everyday person, but would you ever imagine that an off-duty police officer would be
probably the worst ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right? Well, let me show this video. God willing, it uploaded okay. And I mean, this guy was out of line, and he almost was very sorry for what he did because the driver had his dog in the car with him, and that looks like a cane corso or something.
It was big.
Let me see. Is this it right here? Let me check, guys. Hold tight.
You want to get arrested? You're going to get arrested for assaulting a civilian.
37-year-old Thomas Brocuglio was driving his company vehicle with the dash camera on as he approached a red light at the intersection of France Street and Cromwell Ave in Rocky Hill.
What are we doing, kid? What are you doing?
The truck he was honking at was being driven by 57-year-old off-duty Meriden Police Corporal Alan Ganter.
Wait all day. Oh, boo, 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 boo.
That's when Ganter got out of his truck, flashed his badge, and approached Brocuglio.
Really? Where does it say that? It says stop here on red.
Corporal Ganter began taking pictures of Brocuglio's license plates. Brocuglio accused Ganter of being on his phone as the confrontation escalated.
I saw you looking down doing everything else. No, I was moving something in my bag.
Ganter then threatens to give Brocuglio a ticket and call his supervisor.
Sure, sounds good. Let me get your badge number.
Yikes. Obviously, we're using that clip for, you know, commentary purposes, and that's wild. I mean, it went from honking the horn to, I mean, he literally walks up and assaults the guy with his big dog in the car next to him. Even that's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's terrible, man. Like,
you know, for him using his badge, it already tells you what kind of person that guy is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is he flashing his badge? Is that what he does, like on a regular basis?
Probably.
Probably. Yeah, I'm assuming so. So.
If I remember correctly, right now it said corporal.
Yeah.
It wasn't just you know. You know what? I think
I want to know how long he's been on the force. Actually, I didn't get that.
Yeah, he's had to be there for a while. I mean, you know what? That kind of stuff, though, it's that's the unfortunate, though. I mean, really, and not to give all police a bad name, you know.
Yes.
There are good ones out there. I'll say that. But that just gives a black eye to the boys in blue, if you will. You know, stuff like that. I mean, because you know, and you know, some people may disagree with me and think, oh, you know, but I'll be honest. There's a lot of them out there that are trying to help. You know, are trying to help the community and trying to, you know, it's and help people out. You know,
I got a couple of LAPD cousins that are LAPD. And they deal with a lot of crap, but for this guy to go ahead and show his badge, I mean, first of all, he probably was on his phone. You know, the guy probably has a big head, I'm assuming, because showing his badge and all that. Like,
Mhm.
and then to be stopped at a light
Yeah.
when he should have been going. I mean, right? So the guy's getting
Yeah.
impatient with them. Like, get off your
Yeah.
phone. You know, you could see him dialing or whatnot. And
Yeah.
um, yeah,
And you know what? Not just that officer. I think it's pretty common now. I catch myself having to honk at people here and there because
Mhm.
people no longer. I mean, as soon as you come to a stop,
Yeah.
the first thing they do is grab the phone and they're looking at their phone. It's like, and I'm sitting there going like, "Hey man, it only comes in one shade of green. Like, come on, dude. Like, let's go." You know.
I'm not gonna
And-
lie. I've done that before to where because my phone hooks up to my radio,
Uh,
so I've caught myself do that, you know, and not
yeah.
sit there at the light. But I'm sure I'm late. You know,
Yeah.
I've gotten honked at before, but
Mhm.
again, I just try to avoid. Ever since that accident close by my house, the little boy and him getting killed and stuff, and
Oh,
Yeah.
it just it wakes you up. You know, it
Yes.
puts you in a different.
Yeah. I gotta look that
mindset.
up. I mean, it is. I mean, cops are people too, right? So yeah, like you said, there's good ones and bad ones. There's good and bad people. Just so happens that this one happened to rage out on the wrong person because
Right.
he was driving a company vehicle that had a camera installed.
Yeah.
So what he did
Yeah.
really came back to bite him. And the fact that he was, using his badge as some sort of invisible protection
Yes.
came back to bite him too because it was able to identify who it was.
Yeah, dumb.
You know what? That's one thing that's always like in the back of my mind all the time too, and that goes along with like a lot of kids too in school right now too. That they're walking across the street with their face inside their phone
Oh, yeah.
or a tablet or whatever, or just simply just dragging their feet across the street. You know, and it's like, you know, move along, like really move along, especially if the light's green. There's cars that have had to sit through a couple of green lights because people are, they just are not courteous to the drivers.
Yeah.
The drivers are not courteous as well. That is a problem. I will say that. That I've noticed at least out here in the 831 area. It's courtesy's gone out the window. I mean, it's and I've said this before. I believe it's I believe that it's social media because we're so used to having everything in the palm of our hand and done like quick. So people kind of bring that into life, and it's not realizing that in life it doesn't happen. It's not like that all the time. One of my biggest things all the time, and I've always told my kids, when you cross the street, be aware and get out of the way fast.
Yeah.
Because I've always feared now, and I will say this, there could be somebody that is late to work,
Yeah.
is on the verge of getting fired, is getting cheated on, is going through some hardships at home. He's done with it, and you're crossing the street going, "What you gonna do? Run me over?" You might be that last chick on that bomb.
Legit.
You gotta get. I mean, and sometimes, I mean, if people are behind you, I mean, I've had it done on the freeway out here going to Salinas or whatnot, and sometimes people are just driving along, like not moving, just staying. I mean, they'll cruise next to a semi and just stay there.
Yeah.
We don't know if and I understand, the Southern California thing and out here and stuff, but there's also things too that maybe, somebody in the hospital coded, or your family member ended up in the hospital. You're in a hurry to get there, and people are taking it lightly, like, well, what's the hurry? Like, get out, whatever. It's like, dude, be courteous, get out of the way, let people pass. Why you impeding traffic? And I'm surprised because being of the lowrider community, we were pulled over before for being a bunch of us like in a caravan. Oh man, I should get some money back from the state because you see the people just caravanning all the way, nobody's giving in. And there's a lot of accidents too that happen due to people are tailgating or brake checking, and it's just a trickle effect, So no, that's really it. That's how I see it. I think people just need to kind of take a step back and realize that when you're on the road, you are to be courteous to the next driver, and let them go about their way or whatever, whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think, I don't know, no amount. I realize we can get caught up in our emotions at any point in life. We do have bad days. But one thing we have to remind ourselves of constantly, and like you talking to your kids, that's great, is no amount of another driver's attitude or issues should cost you your life. And
exactly.
it has cost a lot of people their lives. And we just have to sometimes realize we need to just take that one as a, you know what, I'm just going to let that person be rude, disrespectful, and I'm going to go home and be safe and be with my family. It sucks. I realize it's not the popular thing to do. It doesn't always sit well with our pride, but we get home alive,
Yeah, no, definitely. One thing they do teach you in the I'm a commercial driver, drive buses and school buses and stuff like that. One of the important things in road raging, they tell us, you can control what's in front of you can't control what's behind you. So if somebody's like, all getting all crazy, hey, let them go, dude. Let them go. Let them go up in front of you, because this way they get so far up ahead. If there's any accident, you can stop. If he hits you from behind, you're going to spin out of control, So, yeah, you kind of tend to learn to let things roll off your back kind of deal, and not take it personal, So,
it's so hard when you're in that moment, it is. I mean, for speaking for myself, it's hard. It's hard for me, even though, I'm the lovable, kind person you could think of. Like, I mean, I can switch up and I catch myself though. And that's a good part of it, catching yourself acting a certain type of way. And
right. Yeah. That's a good point, Denise. It's important to check our own self, right? And be like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, I need to chill. Like,
One of the things I will do, guys, and I'll be honest about this. I've had when I'm trying to get into the next lane or whatnot. Sometimes people are, they're not giving somebody a chance. It's not road raging. Well, I guess you could call it road raging. I mean, I'm not going to try to say I don't. Sometimes you have to. I mean, that's just what it is. I'll put my signal and I'll cut somebody off, and because I see them coming like fast, they'll get into the next lane. But the most important thing I do is, I make sure first of all that I'm not going to get hit. That's the important thing. But one of the other most important things is when they pass or they get on the side, don't turn around and look at them. Just keep driving.
That can
because if you come on and look at them, they flip the burn or whatnot, and then you start like, hey, hey, I just got out of your way, bro. I just need to get on this and that's it. Keep going about your business.
Yeah.
Because it's like making eye contact with somebody you don't want to see, kind of deal, and it can go bad. It can go bad.
And killing them with kindness isn't always what the person wants. I want you to look at me like, look at me when I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying like some people will get mad if you don't look at them, right?
Yeah. So you're like, what do you do?
They pull up and they, they're looking at you like what? Like you're just like dude.
I remember this one incident, you guys, that I had my mom in the car, and I don't know what happened. Somebody cut us off or whatever, and we get to the light, and my mom's cussing out this person. The man did not turn around. He kept looking straight. He didn't turn, look at her, nothing, and she's cussing at him. And I'm like, I put my mom in check. I go, Mother, like, do you not know that could have been an angel that you're cussing out? Like it says in the Bible, we entertain angels. Like, do you not understand what you just did right now? He didn't even look at you.
Saying that's a good point.
Crazy. Like that's you to remember. So that kind of comes into my mind every time that I do something, whatever. It says in the word that we entertain the angels, right? So think about it. How do we entertain them? When do we entertain them? Like, it could be at our worst moment. We're over here like my mom cussing out this person. But
right, me too.
It happens. You know what? It reminded me. Go ahead, Jen, and I'll tell you my story because she reminded me of something right now that happened to me.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Okay, well, I was driving the MSC bus, right, the transits, and I was coming up on a light in Salinas, and we came to the light, right? So I didn't even realize, like I saw the the cars going up, but I'm like, hey, It's not my deal, you know. So as soon as we all, I came up to the light.
Mm-hmm.
The light had just turned red, unfortunately, and I say that because there was 2 lanes, or one turning lane, 3 lanes in a sense.
Yeah.
Well, the lady jumps out of the car, and I guess I don't know who she had in the car, but she jumps out of the driver's seat, walks over across the lane, and the cars are stopped, and she just bangs on the guy's window, like, boom! And I was like, what the heck? So I'm sitting in the bus, and I'm like looking at her like, what the heck? And she's going off on him, just like, you know what, you this and this and that, that MSG driver. And I'm looking like, lady, don't even think, because I'm like, I just saw her I don't know what happened, but she was going skits on her, man. I was like, dang, you see a lot of weird things when you're driving out there, especially.
No.
But it was it reminded me, man, of same difference. So it was like, wow.
And that's what I tell you guys too. Like we need to, like, so in the word it says also that we should love our neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's so hard to love your neighbors. Oh my God. I had the neighbor from what, but I continue to love on him,
Mm-hmm.
and I would always tell him, praying for you. And I would pray for him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy ended up, he overdosed and he died.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, wow. I was like, wow, you guys just blew me back, because he would tell me, like, don't pray for me. Like, he didn't believe. And he was just like, just a smart aleck kind of guy. And I just said, I'm going to continue to love on this guy. Like, I don't put everything behind me. Like, he needs help. I understand that. And sure enough, he ended up passing away from overdose, and that was crazy in itself.
But you know what? At least your conscience is clean, right? I mean, hey, that's
if it wasn't, and it was like before when we used to cuss back at him.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. It was different, And when I started to pray for him and recognize myself as being like, man, we got to live with these neighbors. What if something happens like drastic, drastic, and we have to literally live with them and share, food or our restroom or whatever it is, That's the reason why I think God put it in the Bible to love our neighbors.
Because the way the world is going, it makes you think.
Yeah, definitely. It can happen.
And it's hard. I mean, shoot, it is hard. It's hard to
listen
like that, Once you recognize it, you guys, and it just got easier. Like you said, Fred, I got a clear conscience. I don't feel any type of way. I don't know if he still did or whatnot, but it was just you do yours and I'll do mine, like that type of neighbor,
Yeah. And that's the best thing, that's kind of the situation I'm in now too, is we just pass ways. But now, behind my own walls and closed doors, I am praying for my neighbors.
A little gesture here and there, just it manifests in them, and they start to recognize, okay, she's not so bad, So I pray to God that that I was up to that point with him. As far as I know, I started being nice. I changed that narrative. And
thank you, Pearl. Shout out to Pearl Contreras.
Oh, thank you, Pearl.
Thank you.
I didn't have to go talk to him or nothing, but God I was like, Lord, you make that way, like you clear that path, so I could be able to talk to this man.
Right.
But he wasn't himself, it was drugs, and I understand that.
That's important. That's good that you were able to take that into consideration, because a lot of people are just like, hey, that guy's an a-hole, whatever they want to say. But you were able to, use your own discernment and be like, hey, he's got a substance problem. Not that it's an excuse, but that you knew he was not operating in his right mind.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what, guys, that's one thing that's outside the box within family as well. That I've always tend to do with my family as well, because when you get into arguments, say with your wife, your husband, or whatnot, one of the things that I've always did was before going to work is you go and if it could be a bad argument or you say some stuff before going to bed, or that afternoon, whatever it is, right? You go to bed angry. In the morning, I always make it a point. Always make it a point to go and say, hey, you know what? Wake them up, and which is still angry because I leave really early in the morning, but it's like, hey, I just want to tell you I love you.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
it. Whether it's my son, any of my daughters, or wife or whatnot, they'll say, hey, I love you, because we never know.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you
You don't want to have that in your conscience of like,
Yeah.
man, the last thing I told them was, this and this and that,
Mhm.
and people sometimes, say some stuff like, oh, I hope you, end up like this, and they're like, wow, really? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of wild. That's kind of wild. Like, wow.
Yeah, we
But
can say some ugly stuff in our anger. That's in scripture as well. I don't have it at the forefront of my mind, but that we should not, let the day pass or go to bed. It didn't say go to bed, but something like let the sun go down and be angry. So,
yeah, yeah,
words to live by. It's true.
yeah,
We don't know
yeah.
what the day holds, what the night holds,
Yeah.
what could
Well,
happen.
we'll be here tomorrow or whatnot. It's just that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what it is.
That's
And
true.
that's kind of cool that you can instill that in your children, and they,
Definitely.
that's something that they could take
Yeah.
and learn from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what, we tried, Denise, but you know how it goes. We've all been that age, and it goes in one ear out the other. But eventually, in time, it'll sink in time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
Hopefully,
Believe it or not, it does.
Yeah.
You're sitting here thinking, no,
I, not to bring a cloud. I no longer have either of my parents in this world no more. But trust and believe. It comes back and sucks me in the face, straight square in the face.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And don't you sit
wow.
there thinking like, man, my mom used to tell me that, and here I'm
Yeah.
telling my daughters that,
Right.
that's great,
And
because
we're
you
trying
never
to,
would thought would have thought that I would be telling my daughters,
the same. Yeah.
showing
Yeah.
them
Same
some
thing.
things. that
But
my
we live and learn. We live and learn.
yeah.
That's
No, definitely.
true. So, what do you guys think about? I was just talking to someone about this a little bit in the past, but a lot of people are doing. They're working for like app services for extra income or for their income, like maybe doing. What is it? I don't use it, but my daughters do.
Yeah.
Uber Eats or
Yeah.
what are the rest of them called? There's some other
I
services.
don't know what to pick up groceries and stuff like that.
DoorDash.
DoorDash.
Okay. There's a few different ones, and a lot of people are using them because it's just convenient, right? We're in the age of convenience, and it really did become a lot more popular during, the 2019, 2020 thing.
Yeah.
And I actually even had a friend recommend to me, she's like, oh, you should do it. Like, earn some extra money. You drive, you won't even have to get off the car, and then just have your daughter get off the car and drop the food. And something about it, I was always like, man, I don't know. It's something weird to me for myself anyways. I'm always super paranoid about stuff. Walking up to a stranger's house and like, you never know who that person is, right? And it's definitely something that is needed. People use it. People work for these companies and earn their living. But something tragic happened recently through one of these services, and it's caused sort of a lot of mixed feelings. Let me see if I can find the video and play that, and then we will see what everyone has to say. You guys in the comments, let us know what you think too. And
most definitely.
And we will, let me make sure I play the right one because I've got a few of them down here.
So this 81-year-old man took the life of this Uber driver. So basically, they both got scammed, and they still haven't found the scammers. This happened in Ohio. William Brock says that he started receiving phone calls that morning from somebody who told him that they was going to take the life of his nephew that's in prison and take his life if he didn't give them $12,000. Now, at the same time, Lolita Hall, the Uber driver here, she received a call to go to William's house to pick up a package. When she gets there to pick up that package, William thinks that she's there for the scammer to get the $12,000, and he pulls a weapon on her. I get that they were both scammed. So what he do was he approached the lady before he even calls 911. He bags her up to her car. She threatens to call the police. She tries to leave and get in the car. He then fired. She tries to fight back. He fired twice more. Then he calls the police. He also took her phone from her while he doing all of this. Now, when you watch the video, you can see the woman walking real slow and like limping. You could tell that there's nothing that she can do to anybody. So
That is pretty heartbreaking. Basically, what it boils down to, if you didn't catch it, this elderly gentleman was being called by, they proved that somebody was actually calling and scamming him. Somebody was calling and saying, listen, if we don't get $12,000, we're going to, murk your nephew. And it just so happened that something like he had actually called for an Uber or something. And then the people that threatened him on the phone also said someone's going to be showing up to pick the money up. Wow. And I don't know the details of whatever his mental state is, or if that will even come into play. But as you could see in the still photos of that video, he took that woman's life. And his statements were that he believed she was the person that was being sent by the scammers that were harassing him and saying they were going to delete his nephew. What do you guys think? I mean, do you think that this is something people that work in the app industry should be concerned about?
I mean, yeah, any situation. Well, with that, sis, with Uber Eats and you guys, or Uber, you're taking a like. There was a story down here that the girl called an Uber from a bar or whatnot, and it was the exact same, because you can check what kind of car it is, right? That you're waiting for. So apparently she checked and saw whatever. She got in a car with this same exact car that she was told that was picking her up. The guy ended up not being the Uber guy, not being the Uber driver at all.
Yeah.
She got in the back seat, got in there, and they took off. He ended up like raping her.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was, in this situation, I think it was the wrong place, not wrong place, wrong time, but just the time, just everything that was happening to this man. If that's true, he was going through it. With people, right?
Right.
Poor lady, man. She had to be in the midst of it all and got it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Man,
it's crazy.
Stories like that, you guys. I mean, there's a lot of stories like that you hear.
Right. It is.
For that to be a coincidence, the story that I just told you guys, that was pure coincidence.
Yeah, I heard about that one with the grape situation, and I remember thinking like, oh, that could have been like my daughter or my. It happened. Yeah, Miss Toronto too, because my brother was door dashing 4 years ago, and a guy next door to the place he was headed to pulled a GUN and pointed it at him for being in his neighborhood. He quit after that. I would quit too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I try to
consider that a job.
Try to use words that'll pass by YouTube, but Murphy's one of them.
Yeah. You know, the thing too, though, is, I mean, if they are scammers or even, we've come a long way from prank calling back in the day before caller ID and stuff.
Yeah.
And if they are in fact true, spammers or whatnot, or scammers or whatnot, or it was just what they thought would be funny. It's not funny. We are living in a complete different time no more, where a prank can go wrong. And I'm just taking that angle that it was probably a prank, and they thought it'd be funny for whatnot.
You never know, wrong. Because there was an instance here in Salinas. It had to be last year, and I had overheard some cops talking about it. It was when my daughter was working for Starbucks still. And I went to pick her up, and I was a little early, so I just kind of sat there waiting. and I overheard their conversation. And their conversation was that they were going to a call that apparently this elderly woman was being harassed by someone over the phone. What's so weird to me is the amount of money they requested was $12,000.
Oh, wow.
The same amount that this in this story. So I'm like, I wonder if there's something to that deeper that we don't know about. I don't know. But they were talking to each other and saying, yeah, this old lady, she actually gave somebody $12,000 cash that showed up to her house.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was heartbreaking because this is the old generation where they don't believe in
naive, like
bank. She probably had it under her mattress or like, maybe in a shoebox hidden somewhere. And they had used a situation where it was basically like your grandson is in trouble. And if we don't get this money, something bad's going to happen to him. And she handed the money over and then thought about it afterwards. They did mention that she called someone to get a hold of her grandson and they got him on the phone. And he was like, I'm not in jail.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's when she called the police.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I heard about that one. I did hear about that one.
They just had one yesterday too about this lady that was scammed off of Instagram. So you don't just get a pop-up that says you need to pay this amount of money,
Right.
You don't respond to that. She responded the whole 9 and took out her, I don't know, $25,000 and took it to a smoke shop and deposited it into a those coins.
Green Dot or something? Green Dot Gram or some Green Dot or whatever it was, Western Union or whatever.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. So it's just, it's like, forget that. I ain't trying to get.
Well,
social media.
We have to be very careful because even with this whole AI thing that's out there, I've read articles where, there's been people that have AI generated people's either whole likeness, like a video of them with their voice and made them say things like pleading to their loved one to send money or they're going to, take my life or something else. And these things are being sent out and they are targeting mostly elderly because they don't really know, so much about AI or technology. So they wouldn't stop to think about, is this real or is, it's out there though. And it's very high tech.
It's not good to even, and the best thing to do is to block them right away, especially if somebody gets hacked on their account and usually somebody else will use that account and be asking for money. On social media, it happens a lot, be it Facebook and Instagram as well. I've had it happen to me a couple of times where somebody goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm good, And but here's my thing. What I do, and I shouldn't be doing that because I keep a conversation, and they'll say, "Oh, have you heard about this?" I put in like $50 or whatever, and I got X amount of money. So at that point, I already know what it is. I know it's a scam. They got hacked. So I tell them, well, you know what? I said, I always do this. And I'm guilty of kind of just going into it,
Okay.
Because it's probably somebody in Nigeria or something, And I tell them, well, you know what? Click on this link. They'll tell me click on the link, and I tell them, well, no, you know what? Well, lunch is on you since you got that kind of money, and then I'll talk to you over lunch. I'll go pick you up right now. They're like, no, kind of deal. And I've done this. I'll say this: if it's a female, and then I know it's a scammer going through there, they got hacked and whatnot. They'll be like, oh, I got this money or whatever. The same difference, It's always the same kind of pitch, and I'll be like, well, I was with you this morning. I stayed over last night, and I left this morning. You didn't tell me nothing, And they're like, no, I'll come by and pick you up right now. And they're like, no, just click on the link. And I'm like, no, I'll just come by. I mess with them, but they also say that you're not supposed to mess with them. You just kind of
Okay.
Block them, leave them alone. Leave them alone.
That's good to know because you know what? My mom does that too. Shout out, Mom, if you're watching. But she loves to mess with people that call and ask weird stuff, or if they're scammers, or if they're calling for someone else. But you've been telling this person for 10 years. Nobody by that name lives here, and they still call. You know what I mean?
My daughter was real good at that comeback.
Yeah, but I'm like,
hi, you reach out.
yeah, a lot of times those people, they're just like, they'll ask you certain things, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying to get a clip, an audio clip of your voice saying yes and certain words where they can use that to access your bank accounts, your social media accounts.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, if you ever get some weird call like that, don't ever answer a yes or no type question.
Yeah. Well,
That's what you're looking for.
The other day I was I put gas, right? $40 of gas in. And I get home, my husband goes, hey, they charged you twice at the gas station. And I said, oh man, you have the receipt? So I go back over there, not to change subject, you guys, but I go back over there and the girl goes to the back. She goes, hold on, let me go check, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know how she checked or what, but she goes, no, I think it's your bank. And I said, no, it's not my bank. Like I run with a certain bank that's always on point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And she's like, well, at the end of the day, it'll tell me blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great. All right. So get back home. I tell my husband, he calls the bank and the bank put it back. That's how good they are. They put it back and they said, we're going to investigate. Meanwhile, here's your $40 back, that we're going to look into it and investigate. So I'm pretty happy about that. That bank's able to do that,
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. That does happen. I went to a local small mom and pop shop type market in Salinas, and I used my card there. And you know what? Normally I don't trip out when they run it twice and say, "Oh, it didn't go through." I hear something in me felt kind of like, I don't know, the way this chick did it. She wouldn't make eye contact with me, and I don't know. I just felt like it was shady.
Yeah.
So when I went to the next store, like by the time because I had to go like to grocery outlet to get something else they didn't carry. So I went there and I thought, let me check my bank app. And I looked and that girl did charge me twice.
No.
So I went back there and I was like, hey, and she goes, what? Did it charge you twice?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I said, yeah. And she goes, oh, well, it was only $78. It wasn't a lot. So let me know, and I'll tell my man, I go, no, only $78 to you is a lot to me. So you're either going to credit me right now while I'm here, or you can give me the cash back. You know what I mean? And make a note of that.
Yeah.
And that's what she ended up doing. She ended up giving me cash back, but I thought, I wonder if she just still scammed that amount and took that amount out of her register. And you know what I mean?
No, yeah. That's not even, no, there's people out there doing a bunch of stuff,
That little thing on there's a piece of the machine.
Yeah, the skimmers. The card skimmers.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to be careful, and I do keep a bank book still. Everybody's like, my daughter's like, I go, you don't keep track of what you do and where you spend. Like that's not.
Yeah. No, it's
important to have it like that, but.
It's important to do. Yeah. A lot of places I've been seeing a lot of videos like on TikTok and stuff where people will go up to pay for something and it's mostly at gas stations. And a guy or girl will be like, hey, this is a skimmer you have on here. And they'll take it off themselves. They'll pull it right off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's normally an employee. And they're like, no, give that to me. Yeah, I'll call the cops. And it's normally an employee that's in on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. There's always that kind of. And that's one of my biggest fears too. Look, I always kind of double check. I kind of push on it a little bit, see if it, because usually Velcro or double-sided tape or whatnot. Yeah, it's scary. It's like.
Right. Sal says the best way to answer spam calls is by answering if you were the local police station, or even answering Domino's, can I take
Yeah,
your
yeah.
order? Right.
My daughter, she comes back with some good ones. I'm just like, how do you?
Yeah. Bougie P, you're right.
They end up hanging up on her.
You,
Yeah.
there's a thing on YouTube where the guy they were trying to scam him, and it's
Mhm.
hilarious. If you guys look it up, and it's old, and the guy, I think it's called The What, and the guy, they called him and they're trying to scam him, right?
Mhm.
And the guy says nothing, right? All he can say, the what? And they're like, oh, sir, the what? And he keeps doing that for like 20 minutes. And then but you start laughing after a while, like this guy's just,
Yeah.
he's just trolling them along. And I
Oh,
mean,
man.
and that's all fun, that's all fun and
Yeah.
it's funny and everything, but it's sad the people that get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And I think as we go further into the future with
Yeah.
self-driving vehicles, with robotic fast food places,
Yeah. That too.
perhaps not even having cash anymore,
Wow.
we're more prone to problems like that. People will find a way to kind of, snake their way in and take
Yeah.
advantage of someone.
Yeah. I mean,
That's unfortunate.
there's been talk of that for a long time, a
Yeah,
cashless society. So
yeah, yeah,
crazy. We got to be
yeah,
aware and be on our toes at all times. That's for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
See, so you had a topic, I believe, Fred, that I mean, we can all relate to this topic we were talking about earlier.
Uh-huh.
How would you go about if somebody in life were trying to just maliciously come at you or smut you up or just nonsense? Like, how do you handle that?
You know what, Jen? Unfortunately, I've had it happen to me here in my hometown. To be honest with you, um, and it's a very difficult thing. It's you put a jacket on somebody in a sense,
Mhm. Yeah.
as they say in the street, you put a jacket on somebody, and not necessarily maybe an accusation,
Yeah.
but or make them out to be this, this whatever they say, and
Mhm.
and I'll say it on here because it's already past tense,
Okay.
the situation, and it was this narcissistic dude that he was just, and I said it on my channel.
Mhm.
Um, when I was doing the music thing, uh, and I'm not tooting my own horn. Things are what they are.
Mhm.
The thing was he couldn't do what I did, you know. And I
Yeah.
noticed that he started to kind of change, and then he started, putting, getting my name out there in a bad way to where, and I'll say it, and I that I was at the store one time, and then like a squad of a bunch of gangsters chased me out of the store, but I got away because I got into my car and I ran and stuff. I'm like, I ran and got away from a bunch of dudes, like really, dude, like
Right?
yeah,
You're like, I
I'm
gotta
being
see this.
honest, I'm being
Yeah.
honest, it's like, dude, like,
That's
you
funny.
know, I would, instead of trying to run, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy, but I'd rather stand and fight. I stand a better chance than to
Yeah.
gas out and just get, beat up or something.
Right.
But I mean, fortunately that would, that's not cool. But,
Mhm.
yeah, it got to the point where I had a lot of people send me some hate mail,
Wow.
people just, saying stuff in the street,
Mhm.
whatnot. And it took a long time to
Get your
per
name
se
back.
clear my name,
Oh, yeah.
clear my name out there because
Wow.
it got bad. It got really bad. And looking back in retrospect, um, you know, it really upsets me because my life could have got taken,
Mhm.
over somebody saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have come forward and be like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I didn't know any better. I thought that, I didn't get into fights and stuff,
Yeah.
but they were like, I believed them. And the truth came out in the end. And I will say this: that person, he can no longer come around these parts,
Mhm.
because it's karma, whatever you want to call it. It came back to him,
Yeah.
and now he's in that position, in for for uh, for a
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah.
and which had nothing to do with me. Let's just make that
Right.
clear. You know?
Yeah,
It's just he got himself
worked out
into a
himself.
sticky situation, and now he's that, you know, he's part of that, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty it's and I'll say it like this: I think it's pretty pathetic for anybody to accuse or to label somebody of something.
Yeah.
You know, eventually the truth comes out, and to me, and I'll say this: if you in your heart of hearts and you know, you don't gotta say too much.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta just let things be in a sense and be like, you know what, it's in God's hands. Of course, you gotta defend yourself when you need to, of course, but at the end of the day, you don't have to overdo it or feed into that negativity. Other than, you know what, check it out. Um, that's not what happened. This is what happened, and that's it. You know, um, and really that's it. Instead of, you know, kind of coming in with the negativity and then clashing, you get nowhere. You get nowhere that way. There's got to be some kind of peace, and I believe that the truth will always prevail. You know, but you got to have that peace within your heart towards whatever it is. You know, toward that person. To unfortunately, you know, for what it is, and it's a lot easier said than done to be like, oh no, you know, I'm gonna be cool with like what we were talking about earlier. To say, oh, you know, I'm gonna, you know, I'm still gonna, uh, I'll pray for you, or I'm gonna forgive you, or whatnot. It's hard, it's so hard pill to swallow. At least for me personally, you know. But I think that if you approach it with just, I, I don't want to use the word positive. If you approach it with just like, hey, look, I'm not gonna worry about it because it's not true.
Yeah.
Then you know it'll eventually come out. You know, it'll
Right.
eventually come out, and it comes back to the people. Unfortunately, it comes back to them tenfold. At that point, it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
It's taking on a whole new thing. You know, that's how I tend to look at this.
Yeah.
You know, I've had it happen more than once, unfortunately.
It's
So,
true. It is something that is concerning because this could go towards any situation in life. I mean, it can become a situation where somebody's life could be in danger, or
yeah,
it could be a situation where it's so hurtful
Yeah.
to someone that they can even be in danger of harming themselves, you know.
yeah,
I can relate in some ways from something in the past where I was going through court issues in my life where I was, going through some custody stuff, divorce stuff, and the gossip that was taking place within my own home church was so hurtful, and it was a lie. And it was a legit lie, and I could prove it, but I would have to expose that person's stuff. And I didn't want to do that because that would make me feel like I was stooping to that level. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Hold on, let me shout out LA Times. ¿Qué onda?
Hey, what's up, Paul? Hey,
Yeah,
good seeing you, man.
it was
Good dude,
good.
man.
Oh, yeah, shout
Yeah.
out LA Times. But in this situation, it was so hurtful to me. And like I said, especially being the fact that it was my father's church, basically. Like I brought that person to church, and now you're smutting me up there.
Wow.
And a lie at that.
Yeah.
It was really hurtful. And not that it brought me any satisfaction, but it did bring a sense of, man, I'm so glad it didn't have to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, several months or maybe a year later, the stuff that I didn't let out there, someone else in the church did. And I basically had several people come to me and be like, wow, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm sorry I believed that. And I even told people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like the damage was done.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Yeah.
like I never quite felt comfortable like I did before there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I found another church since then, but you know, that just goes to show like people no matter where you're at, there's people that can cause harm, whether it be at church and families and the streets.
Yeah.
And it's all about how we conduct ourselves.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, don't take the bait. Don't do something that could bring harm back to yourself or that you're going to regret lashing back out at that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Because then it raises doubt or a thing like, well, maybe, he or she did do that, be on the actions that they'll try to trigger whatever in a person, that is unfortunate, man. I'm really sorry about that, Jen, that had to happen, it's unfortunate it happens, to all of us. And one thing, and I'm sorry, Denise, I'll get off my soapbox for now. One of the worst things I think that happens, because you said something right now, Jen, that made me think that it's always, why is it always, or the majority of the time, somebody that you helped out? Somebody you helped out, it's always that person that turns around, either you took them in or whatever situation, and later on that's and look, and I'll say this, and I've said it plenty of times. People say, oh, well, if you do something for somebody, bro, you're not supposed to expect nothing in return. Granted, that's true. I agree with that 110%, right? However, I mean, at the same way I don't expect anything in return, I don't expect you to kick me on my behind when I turn around. Like, and people try to justify their wrongdoing, like, well, you shouldn't expect anything. No. That's it. You're wrong on this. That's where you're wrong. That's how I tend to look at things. It's just like going back again to the music things when people do something shady. Well, it's a dirty game. No. You're dirty, bro. Don't say, they try to shield it, throw up a smoke screen. No. You're dirty. It's not the rap game or whatever you want to call it. It's not that's just the way, or it's business. Like, no, dude, it's not what it is. That's how I see it. I don't see things see that situation as a gray area. It's either black or it's white, in a sense, that's how I look at things, I mean, that's really what it is. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate,
Exactly. I think this is true what Pearl says too. Like it's difficult when you are a Christian sometimes, because it says, like she says here, I know people will say, aren't you a Christian? Yes, I'm saved, not soft. I don't like talking crap back and forth. I'm more of I'll see when I'll see you. Some things I just really try to give it to God. And definitely I relate to that for sure. Denise, have you ever had to deal with something like that yourself? Or what advice would you have if somebody was trying to come at you sideways and you knew it was just full of,
I've been called a racist. Like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that about myself. But I mean, I didn't even acknowledge it. Honestly, I was like, I'm not wasting my time on that.
So that's what you would say is probably your advice would be like, don't give it any shine, right?
Right. And it was eating me up inside, don't get me wrong. And I hate justifying, like, say, oh, I have Black people in my family, how could I be racist? Like, that's not, I wouldn't even say that.
Right.
I was just quiet about the whole thing. I think I was more in shock than anything, but far from that. Like, I didn't pay it no mind. Like, I wasn't going to feed into their stupidity and just the dumb, idiotic things they were saying. It was like, not worth it, But on the other hand, I could see, somebody speaking up and saying, how they feel and how they believe. But I was like, I'm not going to entertain that at all.
Yeah, if it's something that's just out there and far left or whatever, and you don't know where it came from or whatever, like, don't address it. If it's something you have to address it and stand on whatever your beliefs are. And definitely if someone's saying something,
I mean, my husband heard it, he got the earful of it, but that's as far as it went. I didn't have to prove myself or felt like I had to anybody. Like, at that point, it's like, that, get out of here with that. Like, that's,
Yeah.
That's not you.
But-
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, sometimes at 10, when stuff like that happens, for some reason or another, there's always proof that that stuff didn't really happen or whatnot. I mean, I've been around people who are toxic, and be like, this person, da, 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 da.
yeah.
And then and then it's funny because like 30 seconds later we'll run into that person, and this guy that's just telling me all this stuff, he's like, changed his whole tune, and I'm looking at this person like, he or she's not what,
Yeah.
you see the it's just a complete different thing from what this person described,
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen, and I was like, and then you start to think, at least that situation was from the same person that smarted me up.
Oh,
So
wow.
I understood after. I was like, okay, I see what's going on. The guy's just,
That's
he's completely,
great.
yeah, he's just a bad person.
To make a
And
long
it
story
was
short,
wow.
sorry, Fred.
No, you're good. You're good.
To make a long story short, I know where it came from, and I was trying to explain how my mom's, uncle, like in the 60s, how they would look at other races, especially coming out of prison, is how I was
Oh,
telling the
okay.
story.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I was only like 5 or 6 years old when I would hear
Yeah.
stories like that, so
So it was something that was taken out of context.
yeah, oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
was like, I'm not even gonna.
Yeah. Don't give it any time. If
If
it's something taken out of context, then it could happen to anyone. If people
And
I'm
take
sure we all have that story of I don't know about you guys, but being that my mom comes from a big family. There was 8 of them, and two of them were always in like prison feds. So they would come out with stories, and I wasn't supposed to hear them. I was little,
yeah.
but I heard them, and I was able to, like, okay, this is how it is, My uncle was not necessarily, he wasn't talking to me, but overhearing what he was talking about, a lot of our families can relate to that. Not to get, I'm digging a hole here, but
Yeah, as far as like repeating something you heard. But yeah, definitely, like, it's
or just growing up with that mentality that they had. It doesn't necessarily mean that I had it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course not.
So whatever though. But yeah, I would try not to. I was not entertaining that, and like I said, my husband heard it the most, because I would vent to him about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you would to your spouse. And
There's something strange on the thing. I think that is very that's very true what he says about when it's one thing when it's somebody else or an acquaintance, if you will. Obviously, it's not a friend,
right.
But when it's family, it's beyond. It's not even anger; it's more hurt.
Yeah.
I think that's where it becomes a more situation where it's more hurt. Something he said, he posted it out. It's like, and it was just like, wow, it's just that's where it's like it's really hurtful at that point. I have to agree with him on that part. It's just
the last thing we want to. I hate more than anything is thinking I hurt someone's feelings. Like, if I ever think that I hurt someone's feelings, I'm going to address that, because I'm sensitive that way. Like, I'm not maybe so much about other things, or maybe I am. I don't know. I don't like to think that I would hurt people's feelings, because I don't like getting my feelings hurt.
And somehow we're tested that way because because of our kindness, and it's true that people take our kindness for weakness.
And, and you know what? Sometimes, I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes it's unintentional, and we don't even realize it until later on. We're like, "Whoa," like, "Hey," and then it's kind of or sometimes people say, "Well, no, I wasn't even tripping on that," or whatever. It's like, No, but it's good to be addressed. Like, say, hey, listen, this is the way I saw it after, or I apologize, or whatever. But go, you know, it's hard. You know what? And I'm guilty of this. Sometimes it depends. It really depends. But if it's really bad and then people apologize, you know, if it goes wrong for them and they apologize, it's like you said earlier, the damage is done. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I can't, you know, it really does nothing. I mean, we already went, you know, we already dragged through the mud. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of, at least for me, and I'll be honest about it. And I know it's not the right thing to do, guys, but it's kind of hard to just be like, well, whatever, you know, like, okay, don't worry about it, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, or forgive and forget. Excuse me, forgive and forget. My mother, God rest her soul, she always told me, you have a problem. You're a very grudgeful person, you know, and I am, and I know it's wrong, guys, but hey, that's my thing, I guess, you know. And even though I believe that I'm trying to change, you know, I'm really trying to change that.
That
But,
part. You said it right there. So you are acknowledging this is something I deal with, and now you acknowledge it and you can work on it.
Yeah, I actually, well, it's covered, right? But I have a tattoo that says, "God forgives, I don't." You know, that's, you know, I mean, that's.
Now you're gonna have to get on the other side when it's all better. I forgive now.
Yeah.
Right on this side, but it's just, you know, but let's be honest about something. And here's the way I see it too, though.
Okay.
There's so many things that and I'm not trying to justify it, you know. There's people sometimes you just gotta cut out of your life, you know. And you know what? God bless you. God be with you, dude. Like I can't, you know. And I can't even say, well, you know what? God forbid the unfortunate happens to them or whatever. I can't say I'm gonna feel bad. It's kind of like whatever. That's me saying though. Even though again, I'm trying to change that, but it's kind of like, you know, you gotta cut them out and let them go. Let them go. Don't, you know, whatever the situation is, wherever life takes you, whatever which way the wind blows or whatever. I don't want no part of it anymore. You know, it's done. You know, with people like that. You know, I know I'm contradicting. It's going back and forth, but again, it's something that I fight within myself. You know, and thank you for that, Jen. I appreciate you saying that. You know, acknowledging it. Yeah, and trying to change for a better, you know, to be a better person about it. That's just what it is. But it's just, you know, sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, sis, or who I mentioned this to. When we were little, you know, like 9, 10, 11. This is my sisters are a year apart from me. My mom, when we would fight, my mom would like tell us to go sit on the couch and hug each other, you know, and we would have to sit there and hug each other, and it would be like, I don't want to hug you, like, so that would turn into us like playing. You know, we always end up playing. And I think my mom waited for that moment that we started to, okay, like we're good again. That's when my mom would say, "Go, get out of here now, you know, go play." So we would do that. So even now as adults, it's funny. I don't know who I was telling this to, but that same thing happens like to this day. Like me and my sisters will argue, but you know, give us a little and we'll call each other like, "You're stupid," like "You're stupid," you know?
Yeah.
So it always ended up that way. And I just realized that the other day that, wow, my mom really, she instilled that in us, and we're able to be adults about it now today, you know, when we argue and stuff. So it's funny though, like I said, we'll call each other and we'll say like, "You're dumb," or "You're dumb." You know?
That's an interesting technique she used, right? Like in the midst of your anger, it's like, go hug your sister. Well, that had to be hard, you know?
Yeah. And at the moment, I remember it was but I remember being that we always used to, and I've yet to ask my mom this, but I'm going to, but when she would see us start to play and mess around, then she would tell us, "Get out of here, you know, go."
Yeah.
We'd be there a good minute, all mad at each other, like, but she would literally make us hug each other, like put our arm around each other and just sit there.
Right.
But you know what, guys? There's a thing too that brings up to mind that this is just me and my thoughts that I always. This is the stuff I kick around, and again, thank you guys for having me on, and if I say too much, please tell me to shut up. Please tell me to shut
No,
up.
it's our pleasure.
But I will say this. One thing I do I'm a firm believer that love is an inborn reaction. It's an emotion that we naturally have,
No.
right? And I really believe that, and I'll say it for lack of a better word, hate is taught.
No.
It's taught because if you ask, say for example, you're having a problem with somebody, right? And there's a little child involved in the middle. Like, I'm not saying divorce or anything like that, but I'm saying there's a child, and that child, sees that you're angry at this other person,
Yeah.
or you're arguing with somebody or whatnot.
Mhm.
A child, you will usually say, boy or girl, whatever it is, right? An innocent child will always say, "Why don't you just say you're sorry?" It's that easy. It's that easy. If you think about it, it's that easy. If we lived in that world, as we get older, we get corrupted and our minds corrupted, and we learn to hate somebody. I mean, come on, guys. How many times has it been where, again, going back to what we originally were talking about, that somebody, despises somebody or hates somebody or accuses somebody simply by word of mouth when they've done nothing to that person, and it's just based on, oh, well, I heard, you know, that's the world we live in, unfortunately, But I do believe that love is a natural thing. Hate is taught. And I think that when we get older too, as humans, we get corrupted, which leads into my flaws of saying I can't forgive you or I don't care, whatever happens. That's my burden that I carry, which I shouldn't. You know,
Yeah.
and that's just how I tend to look at things.
Right.
And it's funny that thank you for that too, because you made me realize something that's like, yeah, your mom set you guys together, and before you know it, it's done. When you're being children, and there's forgiveness in children, and it gets kind of, hey, it's an inborn reaction because at the end of the day, you love each other. You know,
Yeah.
when we're older, there's people that just stop talking to somebody forever. It's like, or we, like I said, we cut them out of our lives. It just, I think it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
What it would be to live in a perfect world, right? I mean, hey,
Right. I mean, all we can do is do our best. And when we notice there's something about ourselves that we know we can work on and change, we can work on that until we get to a point where we have changed or we reach a point where we feel comfortable with. And it's true. Like in the chat, I think it was maybe Spanx or someone in the chat said sometimes we do have to cut people off. Yeah. And you said the same thing, Brett. I've had to do that with family members before, and it can be very painful. And then sometimes it can be very liberating. Like, man, I didn't realize how much that person was dragging me down until I cut them loose.
Yeah.
So,
and then that is true.
It is.
And then there are those family members or whatnot or whatever that will just simply instigate the fact because they have a problem with you. It's not really an issue. They just, in a narcissistic way, they kind of just make up these stories and find an excuse and a way to kind of just, But I mean, again, I think love prevails, and people still, they come into, I'm not taking sides. I'm just gonna, whatever, that's your issue. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not gonna stop talking to them, or whatever the situation is.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, most definitely. Good stuff. Yeah.
No, thank you.
I like that. Okay, let us know, you guys, in the chat, because I'm sure you noticed, like, we did a different format of how we're showing up on the screen. Let us know if you guys like this angle camera-wise or the previous one better. We'll do like a little test run of what it is. So with that part mentioned, I will say that I have the winner. And I don't know if he's still on here, but he was in the chat earlier. So the winner of last week's 50th episode is Cultura Cafe.
Oh, nice.
All right.
So,
33, 34. What was it?
Huh?
What was it? I didn't even ask you.
What is it? It's money, baby.
No, the number. He picked the
The-
correct number, right?
yeah,
We were talking
19,
about.
19 is what he picked.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So send me your Cash App or Venmo, or if you would prefer a gift card mailed to you, let me know. We'll make it happen. I have you on IG. If you're not in here still, hit me on IG. If you see this, if you guys see him, no. Oh, come on, Paul. Don't do me like that. Recount, it's big. No. But you guys, this next week, I'm going to be working on, well, I don't really have to do much work. It was just a pleasant conversation, but I'll just add a little picture here and there. But I was able to sit down with, I believe on IG, she goes by official, but official OG Green Eyes.
Okay.
And she's from Colton. And she's a really great, like, level-headed conversationist, like, good person, and she shows a lot of love. So you like this one, Paul? Good. Thank you. I like to hear your opinion, so that's good to know. Awesome. So I will be putting that one out, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, if I can get to work tonight. And yeah, it's just a great conversation. And like I said, she's got some things to share, like how she grew up with, kind of coming from parents of two different cultures and merging together, and sort of like the backlash and things she had to face, coming up like that. So it's a good conversation for everyone to tap into. So shout out to her.
Yes, definitely.
Hey, big stuff. Thank you. What do you have going on this next week, Fred? Do you have something you're putting out on your channel?
Yeah, I'm going to be working on some stuff tonight, but I have one already. I don't know if I'll put it out this week or whatnot, or push it, but I do have an interesting one I will tell you guys about the movie Scarface.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
This is the kind of movie that we root for the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, right? But if you really think about it, and I'll just say this, if you really think about it, he wasn't really a good guy. He wasn't even really a good gangster, to be honest. He was a piece of work. If you think about it, if you look at it from a different angle, there was, I think we were all wrong, and I'm guilty of it as well. I say that in the thing, but I don't know if I'll put it out this week or next week, but or whichever way it goes. But that'll be one thing that I'll be working on, that I'll be releasing. The other thing too, I want to say that not just I also coming forward, I'll be having something about the rap artist out of Port Arthur, Texas, that represented Houston, Pimp C, that passed away in 2007, I believe it was. On December 4th, his passing has been a big conspiracy now, but what really happened behind the scenes, kind of deal. So I'll be tapping into that as well. And I got some other stuff that I guess Raza, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, but stereotypes that we kind of go into, that I try to change it within my own family, as well. And not because I'm ashamed of anything. It's just that I think we don't need to do things as hard. You know what I mean? We could change the narrative and still be who we are. So I'll probably go into that. Another thing I'm announcing, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but I will. I've been solid on my diet, guys. So I'm trying. I've been solid on my diet already for I believe over 2 weeks. So I'm standing solid and
that's right. Keep with
drinking
it.
a lot of water.
Nice.
And so hopefully
good stuff.
Hopefully and shout out to Cholo Trucker, man. He seeing them work out, saying some of the stuff they say, and I'll be honest, that there's people out there be like, well, just get out there and do whatever. Unfortunately, I can't right now because of what's going on with me as far as I have some injuries going on. But that's no excuse to say, hey, you know what, cut it down on certain things, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm watching what I eat, and then and drinking plenty of water, and hopefully I'll get back down to where I was
You
before I
will.
came back again. So,
You will. You got
so
this.
Yeah, you
You
thank
do.
got
you, thank
this.
you, thank
Yeah.
you. So yeah,
Be
that's
watching
really
and
good.
tuning in. I've got Fred's channel plugged in the description box already, so you guys can find him
Thank you.
there. Go watch his stuff. And what have you got going this week, sis? Anything exciting you're looking forward to?
Well, I remember telling you that I have a cousin that her husband passed away. So my cousin from LA calls me and says, "Hey, do you want to go to Oregon?" And I'm like, "Huh?" She goes, "Yeah, I want to go to Oregon this weekend." And I'm like, completely forgot about this whole thing, right?
Mhm.
Fasting, because it was been already like 3 weeks. But anyways, my cousin's husband.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Go to Oregon? Like, is this something I got to answer you right now? Like, you need an answer right now?" She's like, "No, I'm just wanting to know because I want to take my mom and her mom are sisters." So she goes, "And I want to take your mom with us." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
So long story short is that she couldn't watch both of them. She wanted me to go and help her out and stuff.
Mhm.
So I ran it by my husband's like, it's up to you, but again, it's something that I know wasn't planned or anything. Like I was like, how come you didn't tell me? And I'm telling her this, how come you didn't tell me like a month ago? You know?
Yeah.
And I completely like didn't forget about my cousin, but the whole situation was like, not in my head when she was telling me this.
Okay.
So I told my husband, he's like, whatever, and then, well, I don't, again, I know it wasn't planned. He passed away. But I don't think it's right timing to go, just get up and go like that,
Yeah.
So that was just something I was thinking about. And then,
Okay.
kind of got to get back to my cousin with a definite answer. And I think I know what that is already, but yeah, other than that, no, nothing,
The champ.
nothing planned.
All right. So that's something you're considering. Cool. The champ is here. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Cholo got my husband's message, but if you did, give him a call tomorrow.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're very proud of you, brother. Appreciate
Thank you. Yeah.
seeing you.
You know what? My condolences to you as well for
Thank
your
you.
loss. So sorry to hear that. And then you know what? Congratulations to House, and I hope he gets better too as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, his daughter got married, and that was. I can't wait to hear about it. So,
yeah,
prayers
definitely.
that he feels better, and we will speak with him next week. I'm sure we'll get to hear about it.
And again, guys, go check out the fight with Cholo Trucker and Buzz. And shout out to Chicano Tube and his wife and family and everybody else, guys. Good job, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Definitely fire stuff.
How about you, Chris? What do you got going on?
What's that?
What do you got going on?
Well, I've got the interview I mentioned that will be dropping this week. And then let's see. I have back to school night tomorrow night.
Oh, nice. I missed that.
Yeah, it's back to school night. So, and then I signed up for a little, parental help and a workshop right before that. So
that's cool.
That's what I got going on tomorrow.
I miss all that PTA.
Yeah. And then I think, let's see. Maybe we should try and do a live later this week, Denise, if you're down. And girls' night, yeah.
So, you know what, Nick? Can I say shout out to my compa?
Yeah.
My compadre, Martin. I want to say a shout out to him. He I'm not gonna put his business out there, in the universe, but he's gone through some hard times there. But we grew up together, and it's not me to my own horn. I don't do things again, not because I expect something in return, but just because it comes out of me to help him out, and I'm glad to help him out. So that's another thing I'll be running around with him this week as well to get his stuff, some stuff for him straightened out as well.
Right on.
So and he's helped me out a lot too as well, and I want to thank him for that.
That's what's up.
So yeah,
people that do that, definitely.
No, yeah, and shout out to my nephew Eddie, They can shout out to my homie Rocco.
Yeah, he was in the chat. He was in the chat, so he was showing you love.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
Yes, most
No,
definitely.
yeah.
So
No, bro.
let's give some shout outs to the chat, you guys. We got
All right.
the champ, Spanx
No, yeah.
Artist. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
HCBC Chemistry. Shout out to you. We've got Big Stomps in the building. Salvador Patlan. Southtown. You guys still check out the sit
Oh,
down.
good.
Southtown, yeah. LA Times, Paul.
Yeah, no, shout out to everybody. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Boozy
real.
D.
You know, and thank you guys for having me on as well. Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's a pleasure having
love
you. It's a joy having you for sure. Sanho Lifer, good to see you. But most definitely, you guys, next week, same time, same place, different topics. You never know what you're going to get. If you've got something you want us to touch on, speak about, if you have something you want to jump on the panel and speak about, hit us up. Anything can happen.
Yep, it was fun.
Yeah. But until then, much love to you, sis, and much love
Thank
to
you.
you.
Much love to you.
Keep
Take it easy, Fred.
good work.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye day.
Yes, we'll see you guys next week.
All right,
Much
sis.
love.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night,
Good
chat.
night.